What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Your Fantasy Nerd. We've got our top 40 wide receivers here for 2015, our May version. So I'm going to quickly run through the top 10 as you'll see on the screen. Number 1, Calvin Johnson. Number 2, Demaryius Thomas. 3, Antonio Brown. Number 4, Jordy Nelson. Number 5, Dez Bryant. Number 6, Alshon Jeffrey. Number 7, Julio Jones. Number 8, ODB, Odell Beckham. Number 9, Randall Cobb. And number 10, Mike Evans. First guy we're going to highlight on this list, Mr. Consistency, Demaryius Thomas, number 2. I love Demaryius Thomas. What do you guys think about him?
Love him. I love him. He's my number 3. It's so tough. We got
It's
great
hard
wide
to judge
receivers.
the top receivers.
Yeah.
We have there's.
You got Peyton Manning. He's declining, but Demaryius Thomas is at his prime. Demaryius Thomas is a stud. He's a freak. He'll be consistent. He'll probably put up anywhere from 12 to 14 touchdowns, I believe, this year.
I think if you were to actually break up this tier to see who you would actually take as number 1, if anyone, I think it ends at Bryant, and you can throw Beckham in there too. So 1 through 5, and then 8. I like Thomas at 2, just because I think Calvin Johnson's for real. He's back. He was injured last year, but he's by far the best wide receiver in football. Obviously, he's getting up there in age. He's 30, but I still love him. But anyway,
Like you said, 1 through 5, they could all be number 1s. I have Calvin Johnson at 5, but
okay, yeah. Well, it's tough with him.
Brown, Bryant, Thomas, Nelson, they're all studs.
Yeah. I think when I think of Demaryius Thomas, I think of consistency.
Yeah.
He's just always there, and Peyton Manning trusts him. And when
injuries are really never a concern.
When you have the trust of Peyton Manning and you're
yeah.
playing every week, I mean, you're gonna be doing great.
And he's been putting up numbers going against the number 1 quarterback, so there's nothing you can't dislike about him.
Yeah.
So.
Next guy, the guy right below him, number 3, Antonio Brown. Thing about Brown, I think that'll only make him a number 3, not the number 1 this year, is that without Le'Veon Bell, I think that definitely hinders his opportunity.
But that's only 2 games.
It's three games,
three
but
games,
still,
yeah,
I just think that his opportunities will be somewhat limited just because they're going to try to double team him. Martavis Bryant, though, on the other side, he's
a sleeper.
Yeah, absolutely. He's really going to help out this year.
And you saw his deep threat stats he put up last year. I have Brown at number 1. Okay. I love him. I think Ben Roethlisberger is going to have a great year. I believe he's going to be.
Yeah. I love Big Ben.
You love Big Ben. I love Antonio Brown. I love what he can do. I think him and Martavis Bryant are going to have. Both are going to have great years. I just think Brown's going to. He's the number 1 wide receiver there, and I think he's reliable too. I really do. Injuries really haven't been a problem for him. He does return punts. He had to struggle with that last year. He was fumbling, but he could always get that miscellaneous touchdown. So.
Yeah, that's big in a week where you need those points. I think Brown is a great player. I like Big Ben this year, and I think the loss of Bell will only help him for those few games. I think they're just going to look his way more.
And they throw the ball a ton.
He's the true focal point of their offense when Bell is gone.
Yeah.
So that's the only that's going to help them, I think.
And we all know they love to throw the football.
Yeah.
Throwing's not an issue with them.
Yeah. Even with their top running back, they throw the ball to Bell so
yeah.
much. That's why I love Big Ben.
Our next guy at number 8, probably the most talked about guy. Just in terms of where do you rank him? He could be as high as number 1. He's as low as 20. I've seen on some people's rankings. Odell Beckham Jr.
Just crazy.
Well,
I have him at number 6.
I have him at 8. So I just think that he's not going to be as crazy as he was last year. Cruz is back. I mean,
I think that's the only people's concern is Cruz is back, but Odell Beckham is just a freak. He's a freak.
He is.
You saw the numbers he put up. If he played his first few weeks, his first 4 weeks, what was it? How many weeks did he have?
He didn't play the first 4 weeks, and he had like 1,300.
Yeah,
yards.
and he could have been MVP. Honestly, he had the MVP-like numbers. He's a stud. Eli Manning, I think, is gonna be the same Eli Manning as always. He'll have that interceptions, but he'll have those great games. You can expect stuff from him, and I don't think it's going to change.
I like Eli Manning a lot this year, and I think Beckham's going to have a good year. The only thing is, when I look at Beckham, I see things very similar to Jeremy Hill. Exploded at the end of the season, and I think that sophomore slump that people talk about, it very well could happen. Just after that explosion, it's tough to just keep going, and he might not have as good of a year this year as he did last year. But I still have him in my top 10.
I have a question for you guys.
15.
Who's going to guard him? The number 1 cornerback and the number 2? Because you have Cruz there, who's been approved.
Number 1 because you're
Buffalo.
Cruz
Buffalo was
inside
saying that
guy.
they're going to put the number 2 on. So they say Cruz been there before, and he knows. What
Cruz is an inside
I
guy.
don't think it matters.
Very true.
I don't think it matters. Cruz might have a good year. I don't know. He's not on our list, but he'll probably move up by the end.
I like Cruz a lot.
Yeah. Next guy, rounding at our top 10, at number 9, Randall Cobb.
Another consistent.
Yeah.
See, my problem with Cobb is he had a great year last year. I think he had 13 or 14 touchdowns, maybe 1,300 yards. But the problem is Davante Adams is a stud. The guy had a nice playoffs last year, had a nice game against Dallas. And I think that he's going to become a huge part of their offense. Cobb definitely won't repeat the 13 touchdowns because Davante Adams will become a huge part of their red zone offense. And I just don't see where Cobb gets as many targets this year.
So where do you have him ranked?
I have him around 15, not top 10.
Jeez. Okay.
Just because I just don't see the targets coming this year with Adams. Lacey's becoming a bigger part of their offense. And he's still the number 2 receiver,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not going to be the focal point of their passing game the way he was.
But don't let Jeremy Nelson scare you. Jordy Nelson, my bad. Don't let him scare you because Cobb's been consistent. Like, he had 14 touchdowns. He's a stud. He's a slot guy.
Yeah.
He'll get the red zone receptions. He may not get that 120 yards in the touchdown, but he may get the 60 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is a great week. And I agree. I think Davante Adams is a stud. And that game against Dallas was just unbelievable for him. No one really knew who he was, and now I think a lot of people know who he is. So I agree with Sales.
I disagree actually with what you're saying. I think the yards are going to be there for Cobb. I just don't see where he's going to score.
He'll stay with the yards. I think he's probably going to get like 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns, which is good, but it's not like top 5, which he's done before. I think the thing with him is I'm not worried about Davante Adams. He might be good, but he's the slot guy there. Who cares? It's like he's just going to move over to the slot. They go 3 wide on that offense.
I have him at 10.
I have him at 9. So
You have him at, what, 15 you said around?
I have him around 12-ish. I think
Okay.
people are taking him a little high to
So
be
you
there.
take him as a wide receiver 2 then.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or a high-end wide receiver
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Going on to 11 through 20 here. Number 11, AJ Green. This is purely based on my thinking. I have him at 11, kind of low, just because I see that offense, like I said earlier, turning into the Dallas style where they pound the ball. They did it last year. They'd give their running backs 40+ carries a game between Bernard and Jeremy Hill. So I just see Green having a tough year with Dalton. McCarron might start.
I wish McCarron started because I think
I have a question for you. How did Des Bryant do last year?
Des Bryant's different than AJ Green though. Des Bryant's like
I don't know
Calvin
because they're
Johnson.
both.
I see their offense structured very similar, and
Very
I think
similar,
that
but-
AJ Green is going to be like Des Bryant, going to have a great year this year.
I have him at number 7. Again, I
Definitely
think he
top
could be
10.
another guy who could finish top 3 in fantasy wise, point wise. I think I love him. I dislike Andy Dalton a ton. I can't say that enough. I hate Andy Dalton.
Another thing about AJ Green though is last year
And injuries. That's another
Yeah.
concern. That's a whole separate concern besides Andy Dalton.
he was the only guy there. You're forgetting about Marvin Jones, who didn't play at all last year.
Very true.
10+ touchdowns.
And
for
we
him
saw
2 years
Marvin
ago.
Jones what he could do
Yeah.
when he's healthy.
He's going to take away some catches. I'm not saying Green's going to suck. I'm just saying he's going to probably not
and I
be.
think they'll use their tight ends a lot more this year.
He's a 3rd round pick. I think 3rd round pick. If you can get him there, that's fine.
3rd round.
I'd say he's 3rd round. I don't know.
Okay.
Next guy we're going to highlight another sophomore. The sophomores were just great last year. Number 14, Brandon Cooks. I love this guy so much. He's the number 1 option now in New Orleans, which is a pass-heavy offense. They're going to get him the ball. I think he might actually be may sound crazy. I think he might be a better wide receiver than Odell Beckham skill-wise. I think Cooks, he's faster. He's not as tall, but he's a great threat in the red zone actually, even though he's small. He's really fast. I just love Cooks this year.
I have him at 20. I
Good.
think the big thing that opened up field for him was Jimmy Graham. Not having Jimmy Graham going across the middle and making those safeties collapse and opening up that one-on-one play where Cooks, I think, has great speed. Everyone knows that, and he can beat that cornerback on a fly route. Brandon Cooks, he'll have a good year. I think the only problem is that Jimmy Graham's gone. He will be the number 1 target now, which could help him or hurt him. He is returning punts, though, right? That's another thing.
He
that
usually
could-
does. I don't know.
He's got great speed, so I don't know. He would be a late 4th round, 5th round pick. I think he could be a wide receiver 2 or flex, but I like him. He's got great potential.
I agree. The loss of Graham, Breeze, I think, is declining. And the other thing is, C.J. Spiller. You saw Cooks have a lot of those little short screen passes
And just like we
plays-
said, Sproles.
a
He
couple
can
plays
play
out of the
those-
backfield. I think now that Spiller's there, he's going to take a lot of receptions and a lot of those short passes. that we saw Cooks with last year, and that could take a lot away from him. That's why I'm not as high on Cooks as other people are.
Where do you have him ranked?
I have him about like 18-ish, just inside the top
Okay,
20.
I have a question for you
So a
guys.
solid wide receiver too.
Is he a red zone threat?
He's
The
a
size? They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to
decent
do
red
the
zone threat.
screens.
I think he's a better red zone threat now that Jimmy Graham's gone. I think they're gonna look.
I think
to
they're
him.
just gonna run
but
slants
how are they
for
gonna
him.
do it? Like slant,
Yeah,
peek route,
slants.
screens?
Yeah,
I guess
I
it
mean,
really
just-
doesn't matter. I just don't
Randall
think.
Cobb's not a big guy.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah,
how he
very
gets in
true.
the red zone.
But he's also got
Antonio
40
Brown's
now.
not big either. He's just a stud though. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's you don't have to be big. to
They
be
had
good.
They had one of the worst red zone offenses too. Because you'd see Ingram go there and get stuffed 4 times in a row, and that's instead of trying to get the ball to Graham, it happened a lot.
That's true. So now we're gonna move on to 21 through 30. Obviously, this is your wide receiver 2 flex options. First guy we're gonna highlight is the rookie. They're one of the
multiple
rookies. Well, there's multiple rookies, but the rookie that I have highest, but I know you don't. Amari Cooper at 22.
I like Amari Cooper.
I do have
You
him
have Cooper
highest.
higher.
I just.
I thought you had White higher.
Oh no, I have White higher. You
I
are
personally
correct.
like Amari Cooper a lot. I watched him at Alabama last year. Guy took over games. He's the reason Alabama had an undefeated regular season. Amazing player. He could beat you up top. He could beat you short. He's great. He's a possession. He's good possession receiver. Got great speed. Can beat you deep. I mean, he does it all. He's a great receiver.
Crabtree being there too might actually help him out. I don't know. Because Crabtree's a good player. He just didn't get the ball at all last year because he just had problems. But I like Cooper at 22 just because he just didn't get the ball. I don't know. He's a great player, Crabtree. No, but I like Cooper at 22. He's not someone I would consider with a wide receiver 2, even though I have him there. I think he's a flex option to start the year.
Does the running game?
He's just flex option.
Okay, I'll just start by saying I do love Amari Cooper. I think he's a stud. I have Kevin White higher. We'll get into that after this. But Amari Cooper, Oakland had the best draft last year. They got Sheldon Mack and they got what's his name? They got Derek Carr too, and they aced their draft. And previous years they did terrible. Yeah, 2 years ago they did terrible in the draft previous before that, and they came on strong at the end of the year. The thing is Latavius
Khalil
Murray
Mack?
going to be Khalil Mack? Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
What about the running game? Latavius Murray?
I like
How's
Latavius
that?
Murray. I think he's a fine RB2.
The game he showed us.
He only had 4 carries, so you can't really judge him. But obviously, he doesn't have wear and tear on his legs like some running backs. But we'll get into that when maybe next time. So at 25, we have Kevin White, the next rookie on our list. What do you think of Kevin White?
I love him. I think he'll be. I don't think he'll have the number 1 cornerback on him, which I think is huge because Jeffrey's going to take that attention.
Is he a
I
slot
love
guy, or
Jeffrey.
is he gonna?
They're going to use him outside.
Yeah.
What is he?
Oh, he is
6'4",
big.
6'5".
He is a
He's
big guy.
huge.
Yeah,
He's
big.
got the straightaway speed. I think he'll burn cornerbacks. Jay Cutler, I think, has got a great arm. Decision making, terrible decision making. And I think I don't think you can blame it all on Jay Cutler. They had one of the worst defenses, and it's hard when you're trailing every game and you're going to have to start throwing the ball all around the field. And Jay Cutler, trust me, did not have a good year. I can't see him having another bad year like this. I know everyone's concerned about Marshall gone. I don't think that matters. I think Jeffrey's a stud. I think everyone would agree with that. And I think Kevin White will have that straightaway speed. He'll be the guy to get the yards. He may not get the touchdowns because they got Martellus Bennett and Jeffrey, but don't let the touchdowns concern you because they'll get him the ball. There's a reason he got drafted that high in the first round to the Bears.
Yeah, I think he's a guy for their future. I think they're looking forward. I think they have obviously Jeffrey for their future, White, to get rid of their old scraps and think for
They're rebuilding.
Yeah, they're not playing for this year. They're not playing for the Cutler's not their guy. Maybe not even next year. I think
it all depends on this year. I think he's got the talent to be a very good quarterback. He's got one of the best arm strength quarterback in the NFL, and he's got a cannon.
I mean,
he just needs to be. They need to run the ball more. Forte getting. I know this is one of the stats that just killed me last year. Forte is a great running back, in my opinion. You can't be scared to run the football, and that was the problem with Trestman. He ran the ball 4 times in one game to Forte, which just blows my mind.
yeah.
Personally, I think Kevin White is a great pick in Dynasty League. I don't know how good of a year he's going to have this year. I think he has a little bit of growing up to do. I saw something. He took all but like 5 snaps or something on one side of the field. So
He's just
got some
comparing
growing up
him
to do.
to Richard Sherman of the defense. Richard Sherman stays on one side. That's what Kevin White does. He stays on the same side of the field that Richard Sherman stays on. So it would be, I think Seattle plays the Bears, I think week 4 or something like that. It'll be interesting because he will be going up against the #1 cornerback in Richard Sherman, and I'd start him because I love Kevin White.
Yeah, I'd like to see him have a year under his belt and just grow, open up the route tree.
Well, that's an interesting thing you bring up because that is 100% true. He stays on one side just like Richard Sherman, and I don't know if that's a problem or not because not the #1 cornerbacks, I think, besides Richard Sherman, I think all of them would go around and follow the #1 back, the #1 wide receiver, and Sherman doesn't do that, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, now heading into 31 through 40 here. At number 36, we have Allen Robinson. I'm going to highlight him real quick. I know you like Allen Robinson.
I'm a big Allen Robinson fan. I watched him at Penn State. I think he's the all-time leading receiver in both receptions and yards there. And I think he's a good receiver. Blake Bortles, a developing quarterback. I think we're going to see him take some big strides this year. I think he's going to have a solid season. And I think Allen Robinson is going to be a big part of that as a young player, really going to develop this year. And I'd have him on your bench. Definitely could have a good year, so God have in your reserves in case someone gets injured or in case he blossoms.
Yeah, I mean, someone has to catch the ball in Jacksonville, and it's not Justin Blackman. He's gone, and Cecil Shorts is gone. Someone has to catch the ball, and it's probably going to be Allen Robinson. That offense is just so bad, though, that I don't know if he's going to be able to... Oh, actually, Julius Thomas. What am I thinking? He's on the team, too. But still, Allen Robinson, #1 threat outside. He'll probably have a fine season. I think he's a wide receiver 3. But I know you like him, so...
Do you think Bortles will be that good? He had problems with the interception ratio last year.
That team's just so bad.
He's a rookie quarterback.
I know.
I think he's going to take
He's got
shots.
potential. I do. I don't know how their passing game's going to be. I don't know how their running game's going to be. It's a huge question mark in Jacksonville. I actually think their defense will be better. Connor thought they were like a top 10 defense.
I did. They were.
Which just blew my mind.
They were not. They were like 20th. Not
Julius Thomas will have a good year. He'll be their red zone. He'll be their go-to guy when they need a big play. He's not obviously a deep threat, really.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. That's our running back rankings. You can actually check out more at yourfantasynerd.com. Thanks for watching, guys.